Hi everyone, I'm going to create a croquis for this pose, for this walking girl pose. She's really um, long-legged and high-heeled shoes and elegant looking and very transparent. Her garment is so and flowy that allows us to see her body and her garment as two separate silhouettes, which is very interesting here. Um, Her hair is contained with the turban. She has very well defined waistline. So those are very good things for the fashion sketch, in the sense that it gives you anchor points and a lot of definition um, for a croquis that you could use for different garments as well in the future, or to create your designs or to dress her. So what I'm looking for is here you have a volume of her torso, and here you have a volume of her thighs that is arranged in such a way you could imagine that it sort of wraps around, and this is inserted into her hip and pelvis area, and this wraps around and continues as legs. And it's important to capture the angle between the torso and the legs, right? And it's important to capture this angle in relationship to this angle, right? And then her shoulders, this one is closer to us, this one is further away from us, and there's a little bit of an angle and a curve here with her muscles of her neck. Then her arm is relaxed, and you don't see another arm, and you don't have to worry about it. So that's another thing that's very good for a fashion sketch. So you have a very good strong foreground, and then your background is unobstructed and uncluttered. So that's a good thing. Then her neck is erect, and she has a very well defined three-quarter face, which is very nice also. And you have a lot of details with her shoes and her feet, how they positioned and how they define the space. So what's important is to look between at the space that her feet create, right? It's a sort of there's an angle, right, that goes from foreground to the background a little bit. So that's important because that leg is further away from you than this leg. So that creates definition and space. Without further ado, let's address our paper. I have regular paper, regular printer paper, and my trusted sketching HB Derwent England, quite dull. So I'm finding middle of the page, and I'm going to first define her hips with the same movement that I just showed you, that wraps around, and you could create the armature lines for her legs and feet. So pretending this is going to be her front hip, and that's the hip that's going away from us. I'm going to mark the knees, more of a mental mark than actual mark, the knee, and then that extends, and her foot, remember this angle here, this is more touching the edge of the paper, more foreground, this is more of a background, so keeping that in mind. Then I'm going to create a triangle of her torso that is kind of insert it into there. This is a little bit exaggerated, and you could always find proper line within it, but this helps you define the movement of the torso and kind of like her proud posture. So pretending this is her shoulders, and this is the torso that's inserted into her pelvis. And then her arm hangs down, remembering that her waistline, her natural waistline, where her waistband is right here. And you could see the curvature of it. It bends slightly above the horizon, like pretending the horizon line is somewhere in the middle of your page. So all the lines that are horizontal will curve upward above the horizon and downward below the horizon. This is the concept of the horizon on this page. And there is a curvature of her neck that lands somewhere in the middle of the shoulder, and then the egg-shaped part of her head is here, and then you need extra part for the back of her head, extra volume for the back of her head. That is roughly your figure, and then you need to zoom back, look at her and decide whether her movement is something that you like and it's convincing to you, and then work again defining her limbs a little bit more with more certainty. Right, and this is your rough croquis. What you want to do next is try to detail it a little better, right? So the torso will probably be inserted somewhere here. You could see the other shoulder, and her chest has a curvature, and the breast will be somewhere here, and likewise the other one right here. And then you could draw out with some approximation her limbs. Many of you ask how to draw hands, so my shortcut is first you decide where the palm of your hand is and make a bit of a thickness there, which is probably first third of your thigh. Then you decide the angle. So there's a skinny wrist, right? And then there is side where the thumb is. And then for the fingers, I draw a little triangle. It looks like that. And that's my shortcut, because for fashion drawing, you don't necessarily need a lot of detail on the hand. So like that. Then let's see, her thighs will be thicker than the rest of her leg, right? But not by much. Keep it thin relatively. So she's thin and leggy. Define the knees, and then you turn back and draw the calf. So this is the thickness of the calf. Then it gets skinny towards the ankle again. There's a little bit of curvature in front of the calf. On the other side, there's a muscle in there too, so it's not concave or it's not completely straight. So there's always a curvature. And then this curve travels into the curve of her instep. And from there, you decide where her heel will be. And this line, because this is her right leg, so outside we'll have a little more shallow curve right here. This was the first draft to express the instep spring, and this will define, this will be a little bit less curvy on the right foot. This will be a little more curvy on the left foot. So your sketch will have a right foot and a left foot. And that will look more correct than not. So the heel is defined, the instep is defined, and then her pumps, the line of the pump travels somewhere like that. Right, so the buttocks, it's up to you to decide on shape of it, but I want to keep it not huge necessarily and slender to adhere to this idea here, right? To have that spirit right there. So the waistband is something we could see there. And then she has a V-neck slit that goes that way. Is a big sleeve, rests on her shoulder and flows freely until we hit like a big cuff here, and then it touches her arm and then flows away from the arm, and then it's tucked into her skirt, and then you start drawing those volumes for the skirt, and it's covering her feet in this particular case, which is very chic and rich looking. But you could see her legs very well underneath it. And then there's some kind of sash which flows all around. And there is a bit of a fold that's happening here. There's an armhole and some detail how sleeve is constructed. There are parts here that are more red than others, so there's transparency here, so you could see dark, rich red, diluted like a tint of red, and then rich again where there is body underneath. And there are again those spaces there that tell you that there's no body behind it, so they're lighter again. So pay attention to those things when you draw the garment. There's a little bit of a dark space here where the neck is inserted. That shows you that there's a little bit of a wrap. So that darkness goes there and wraps around her neck. It's pretty close to the neck, it's not very thick. And then And then her turban. There's kind of a detail to the turban and then the drape. There's a big earring. And then last but not least, you could decide how much of her face you want in there. Right, the eyes. For a rough sketch, this is pretty much it. Then on the next piece of paper, next layer, you want to attempt to clean it up and decide whether or not you need to make any changes, and whatever other issues you might want to, and maybe work out her face a little better, because this is a rough. That's it for now. Thanks.